Hi, I'm Nanci Garnand. Well, let's wait here. And, okay, we are now live streaming on Facebook. Scott
Hi,
Maltz,
Nancy.
thank you for joining me.
Absolutely.
Scott is mortgage loan originator extraordinaire. He knows more about loans, consumers, investing, and he is your go-to person in talking about what to do next. And Scott, and I reached out to Scott today because, like all of us, we're seeing Biden has this thing to redistribute high risk loan costs to homeowners with good credit. And Scott, help us understand what this really means for those of us who work hard to have good credit.
Well, yeah. So actually, it's funny that you called me this morning. I got a text from one of my clients, and the text is like a little snapshot of a conversation that she was having with a couple other people, and it says, "So I wake up a little while ago and see Joe Biden has changed the rules for mortgage rates. If you have a credit score of 740 plus, you will pay an extra 1% on your mortgage. Those with 620 or less will get a 1.75% decrease. How is this legal?" And she's like, "Is this true?" And my answer was, in this particular borrower's case, their credit scores were in the 800s, so it's not going to affect them. So I explained that. I said, it won't affect you, but they did make that change. And I said, I'd be happy to explain it to you if you'd like some more details. And it's something that a lot of people are certainly talking about. It's actually something that's been around for a couple months that we've been dealing with and trying to help educate people on. Because it is any loans that are delivered as of May 1st. But when a loan closes, it does take a little bit of time to get delivered to Fannie or Freddie. And so loans basically locked with our particular company, Guaranteed Rate, it was any loan that was locked after March 1st.
Wow.
So it's been in effect for a little while. And I would say that that's every single mortgage lender out there really has been taking that stance. And so, yeah, let's talk a little bit about what's actually happened. So in previous years, if you're doing a conventional loan, probably most people understand that the people who have the higher credit get better rates. The people who have lower credit pay higher rates. In mortgage lending, 740 plus was always considered like perfect credit for mortgage purposes. Meaning if your middle credit score was a 740 or higher, you got the best rate that was available on that day. So let's say today rates are 6.25 or something. That 6.25 really, that rate was being talked about, but was really available for the people who had the highest credit score on a conventional loan. They did this in like 20-point increments. So where 740 was considered perfect, basically there was little buckets of borrowers, and again they separated it basically on 20-point increments. So 720 to 739 was a group, 700 to 719, 680 to 699, and so on. So as the credit score went down, the rate gradually went higher. These are things that are called loan level price adjustments. We call them LLPAs or just hits. So there was a hit to the rate for the credit score. So what they've done is they've increased hits for people that really have, like if you're a 769 credit score, that is a very high credit score. That puts you in a very high realm in terms of percentage of people. And so you are paying a slightly higher interest rate now because of this new change. And then what they did is they decreased the loan level price adjustments for people kind of on the smaller end, so it wasn't affecting them as dramatically. So yeah, those are the changes that have been made. Some of the things that people are asking me, like, is there anything that we can do to kind of work around this or whatever? Here's what I'm seeing about that. There are more people that are probably doing FHA loans. There certainly are more people who are asking sellers to pay concessions, to be able to buy the rate down or to do 2-1 buy downs, things like that. And there are also people, and I encourage my agents to do this. If you have a buyer who's wanting to buy and they don't, a lot of times people just don't know where their credit is exactly. get them over to us, because there are some things that we can do before they're making an offer that will minimize that effect. Meaning, let's say you have somebody who's a 720 score, but they might have a few small credit card balances. They might be able to pay those things down, and we could do some sort of rapid rescore where it actually boosts their score because they've paid those balances down. Those balances are lower compared to their high credit limit. And so then when they do actually get under contract, their score is higher and there's less impact.
So when you first heard about this, Scott, I felt like I was competing with the price range that would be affected most was the entry-level price range, where the first-time home buyers are competing with investors to buy properties.
Mm-hmm.
Is that kind of a true thing that you see going on? Is the first-time home buyer have a lower credit score?
Typically, yep. And so I also will like to bring up another program, and this is a new program that is out that it really is kind of able to counteract what this change does for that first-time home buyer. It's only for first-time home buyers, but it basically it allows some things that are really kind of unique. So number one, it's a conventional loan. People have to put down 3%, right? So it's a lower down payment, and 3% down conventional has always been around. But like to explain this in a little bit more detail, if you had a borrower who was a first-time home buyer putting down 3%, let's say today rates are 6.25%, their rate would be like 6.5% on that 3% down. And then you would also have all of those other things like credit score adjustments, loan level price adjustments for their credit score. With this new program, there are no LLPAs. So if you have a 630 credit score borrower and they're a first-time home buyer and they have 3% down, they would get that 6.25% without any adjustments to that rate. So it's a really big deal. The other thing is that either person can be a first-time home buyer. So if, let's say, you have one borrower that owns a home and is selling that home, and the other borrower has never owned, they can buy together. And if that one person's a first-time home buyer, they qualify as a first-time home buyer.
That is an excellent point, because I was just asked the other day if there's still any first-time home buyer loan out there.
Well, another thing too is that this program also works for, like, if someone's getting a divorce, and one of the spouses is being displaced because of that divorce, and if they have children, even if they've owned previously, they can use the program. So,
Wow.
So that's kind of cool. And the income limit is 100% of the median income for the county. So, like, for example, in Larimer County, that's in the 100, or let's see, I think it's roughly around 100,000, and I mean that fits a lot of people. So there's really a lot of people that can benefit from this program.
I think the easiest thing to say is there's so much out there and everybody's situation is different. They just need to really talk to you, Scott, to see what they need to do about their credit score and what they qualify for in the game plan before we even get connected as a real estate agent to help them.
Absolutely.
So when we get done with this video, we'll post it in there. So we have your contact information in the company. And this thing that Biden's put into effect, I'm kind of getting this, but I want to be clear on this. Does this include conventional and all government-backed loans? It's all loans?
So all loans have LLPAs, whether they are they are different. They are different. The government loans are slightly different in how the adjustments are made. Basically, there's a matrix, and the matrix shows kind of what that par rate is, and those hits that they're talking about, like the 1% and the 1.75%, they are different on government loans. What you're mostly hearing about is conventional loans.
Is conventional loans, okay. Scott,
but
thank
those
you.
other ones do have hits that are affected. So.
Well, I'm not happy to hear about it, but hopefully it's not as bad. After talking to you, I don't feel it's as bad as I initially thought.
Yeah, I mean, a a lot of people are thinking that it's just adjustments directly to rate, and that's not not how it is. It's just it is, but it is still affecting the rate, so people do need to know about it.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Great to see you, Nancy.
Great to see you, Scott. Talk to you
All right.
later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.